We begin in Colorado, where the stepmother murder trial is set to get underway in just a short time. Letecia Stauch, accused of murdering her 11-year-old stepson Gannon back in January of 2020. Now, she's pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, but will it help her avoid criminal liability? We'll have to wait and see. They've already got the jury picked on this one. We're going to go in as soon as opening statements are happening. And just to give you a little background on this case, in case you're unfamiliar, you know, it's been one that's kind of lingering in the true crime community. We've been watching it, and then there have been a lot of pretrial motions. We have you covered this morning. Let's take a listen to all the background, how we got to this point of trial. Court TV lead anchor Vinnie Politan reports.
This person, the stepmom that I even trusted, that she will pay 100% for this heinous thing she done.
March 2nd, 2020, Colorado authorities announce an arrest in the disappearance of 11-year-old Gannon Stauch, his stepmother, Letecia.
Letecia Stauch was taken into custody in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina without incident by law enforcement officers from the El Paso County Sheriff's Office.
On January 27th, 2020, Letecia Stauch called 911 after she says Gannon went to visit a friend and didn't return home. Hours after the call was made, police searched the home and found no sign of him. State and local police, as well as family and friends, began searching the countryside for Gannon.
The El Paso County Sheriff's Office says they've gotten more than 300 tips related to this case. Today, they re-canvassed the Stauch's neighborhood to make sure any neighbors that might not have been around for that first round of interviews were spoken to today.
With his mother pleading for his return.
A kid just doesn't disappear and no one sees him. It's not how this works. Imagine my son, how afraid he is. Imagine how afraid Gannon is.
Days after Gannon disappeared, police returned to his home and searched again.
When executing a search warrant, investigators were able to essentially follow a trail of blood that began in Gannon's bedroom, led them all the way down to the garage.
They found blood stains on Gannon's mattress and blood spatter on a light socket near his bed. They also found evidence of blood in the garage and near where officers observed Letecia's car parked when they first searched the home. On January 29th, Letecia Stauch was 2 hours late to speak with police. She showed up with her car freshly washed, and she had a news story about what happened to Gannon. She claimed that a Hispanic man named Eduardo had come to the house, raped her, and kidnapped him. She later spoke to a reporter with KKTV before she rented a van and left the state.
I would never, ever hurt this child. And I know there's some questions out there about, okay, so tell me what happens. That's up to the investigations when they end up letting you guys know, but I've cooperated with them.
During the month of February, police continued their search for Gannon while Letecia Stauch stayed with her family in South Carolina. His remains had not yet been recovered when his stepmother was charged with his murder in early March.
Charge 1, murder in the first degree of a child under 12 years of age by a person in a position of trust. Child abuse resulting in death. Tampering with a deceased human body and tampering with physical evidence.
2 weeks after her arrest, Gannon Stauch's body was found in a suitcase that was left under a bridge in Pensacola, Florida.
When the sergeant from Florida arrived, he saw a suitcase opened and a body wrapped inside of blankets. It appeared to be the body of a small boy. A flyer was brought to the sergeant's attention. It was the flyer of Gannon Stauch. And the sergeant did say there were some similarities between the picture, the actual body, dental features, height, weight, approximate age.
A Florida pathologist performed Gannon's autopsy.
She noted 1 gunshot wound, 1 skull fracture, and 18 sharp force wounds, including those on the arms and hands, so likely those defensive wounds.
Letecia Stauch was extradited back to Colorado from South Carolina. She is facing more than a dozen charges in Gannon's death and has pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. But that is no comfort to Gannon's mother.
Today, I got the worst news and the best news. Obviously, we know what the worst news is, but the best news is that justice will be served. And I'll make sure that justice is served because my boy did not deserve any of this that has happened to him.
It was Vinnie Politan reporting. What do you think happened to little Gannon? Tweet us right now. Let us know. I want to bring in my guests and see what they think. Great guest joining us this morning. Trial attorney and former president of the National Bar Association, attorney C.K. Hoffler in Atlanta and in Orange County, New York, retired NYPD detective Angel Masonette. Great to have you both on the show this morning. Oh, this case, that little child, what that little child must have endured before his death. Detective Angel, let me go to you first on this one, please, because a lot of people are wondering what really happened to Gannon. Here, you're a professional. You've done this work for many years. We thank you for your service. Your best professional guess as to what happened, how he was killed, please.
Well, it seems like she shot him. Apparently, first probably what happened was she fought with him and shot him. I mean, it shows there was blood spatter. She took a lot of time to try to clean up her tracks. His father was away, right, at drill. She had a lot of time to try to cover her tracks. This insanity plea to me is ridiculous. I mean, she was so methodical in planning her alibis. She had a couple of alibis. So, unfortunately, the boy, hopefully he didn't suffer.
Oh, my gosh. I know. It does. It sounds like that, doesn't it? It sounds like, she may have beaten him if these allegations are true. There was a struggle, like you said, because the poor child had defensive wounds. And then when that didn't work, the gunshot, if these allegations against her are true, they are so heinous. And I am curious whether this not guilty by reason of insanity defense is going to fly. C.K. Hoffler, let me pick your brain about this, please, because we know that Letecia Stauch put forth this story to investigators, saying that on January 27th, she was held at gunpoint by a laborer named Eduardo, and he kidnapped Gannon. We all know that was a pants on fire story that she told. Why tell that? If you had no culpability, why make up that story? But then now it's trial time, so I was out of my mind at the time this occurred. CK, your take, please.
Good morning, Julie. Yeah, I don't think it's going to fly at all. Just for the reasons that you said. This was meticulously planned. She had a story, then she changed her story, then she fled. And then she basically, from the beginning to the end, cleaned up her mess, cleaned up her tracks, and this poor child was found in a suitcase. It's the unfathomable, it's heinous, it's disgusting. So I don't believe any judge, based on the evidence that I've seen thus far, is going to go for or accept an insanity plea. She can plea. I mean, it's her right to plea what she wants to plea, but I don't think it's going to fly. I don't think a jury would buy it. And so I think that it really falls short of credibility. She will have no credibility on that because of the methodical way that this was executed and because of the multiplicity of lies. She was in her right mind. She gave interviews to journalists. So I think that right now it's a trial tactic. It's her last effort at trying to avoid so much jail time, but I don't think it's going to work.
Right. No. Angel Masonette, we saw that little clip in Vinny's piece about, when she was talking, to the reporter about how I've cooperated. I've gave them whatever they know. I'm not hiding, and it was Eduardo, somebody who was working in the neighborhood who did this. Tell me, when we look back at that in that interview and what police do, at this point, she's also saying she's a crime victim, right? I'm sure in your many, many years of detective work, you have people who may be responsible, and I don't know if she is here. She's cloaked in the presumption of innocence, but let's just, for the sake of our analysis, we're talking about somebody who may potentially be culpable for this murder, but they're putting forth a story saying they are a victim of very serious allegations. Talk to us how you sort through that, how law enforcement probably arrived at this conclusion that, no, stepmom, you're the one who did this.
Well, there's a lot of evidence, right? You're talking about forensic evidence. You're talking about GPSs on phones. Listen, she had no emotion. When she was speaking to the reporter, why are you going in front of a reporter when your stepson is missing? I mean, you should be supporting your husband. You should be supporting his biological mom. I mean, there was no tears. There was no, I didn't do this. There was no sort of, any sort of pleading on her part, right, so to speak. When she was talking to the reporter, she seemed just very, very matter of fact. So, police obviously, when something like this happens, you're going to look at the person who was last seen with this poor boy alive. So, that kind of made it easy, so to speak. And then right there, from that point on, it's on her to either, prove herself innocent or be found guilty.
This is really something, and she is going to have a tough hill to climb when it comes to the evidence. If she, she's got to put on, she's putting on this not guilty by reason of insanity defense. So they have to present evidence. I'm not saying she's got a burden. The state carries the burden. That stays with them. And she is presumed innocent. We will see what these opening statements tell us. I have a feeling we're going to hear more, and really curious to see what the prosecutors say was the story of the death, because gunshot wounds, stab wounds, the beating, I'm curious to see how they're going to say this all went down in their open. We're going to be watching for that in just a short time. Remember, this one happening in Colorado, and we're on Eastern time here.